Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 4th day of January 2020. I've done this once, and I got to the end and it froze, so we're going to do it all over again. Sometimes I use the same cards and sometimes I don't. I am going to keep the same runes though. Because I think that they're an interesting combination together. Forgive me if I'm a little out of it. I haven't slept tonight. I didn't sleep last night. And when the roosters started crowing at 4:57 this morning, both of them, I just said, oh, the heck with this. And I got up. And I watched the news and I had some tea and, oh, you know, I'm not accustomed to being up in the 5 o'clock hour, so anyway, not the end of the world. But for some reason, anyway, my computer decided, I rebooted before I started this, so I don't know. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and do new cards, I think, but we'll keep the runes. So let me talk about those. We have Gebo as the rune for today. Balanced energy exchange with others. I believe it's the 7th rune of the, it's the 7th rune of the Elder Futhark. I almost said Major Arcana. Tarot mode. And Populus is our geomancy rune for today. And remember, this is arranged in fire, air, water, and earth. Its complement is Vaya, which would be a single line of dots. But Populus is about going along with the crowd, and you're not really taking any initiative to define where the crowd's going or any of that. You're just joining. So depending on what that looks like, you know, you can be a good thing or a not so good thing. I think we're seeing a lot of evidence of that. We saw some more violence down at the in Salem at the state capitol a few days ago, and suddenly the police weren't going to take it anymore. And so now the folks that were down there doing that and are none too happy with our police down there. So too bad, man. You know, you can't go and break glass doors with your, you know, kicking them with your feet, and you can't do that. You know, that's, you know, it's fine to express your opinions. It's fine to protest. It's what we do here in Oregon, particularly Portland. And no, Portland is not falling apart. You know, that stuff happened in like a 3-block radius. Yeah. We're expected in Portland to protest. It's just what Portland is. And you march, you sing, you march, you go meet at a park or somewhere, you know, and there's a lot of parks in Portland, and well, all over the area there. But you go meet somewhere, and you have music, and you have food, and you have dancing. Sometimes you have naked yoga, and you talk about what you're interested in, what you're there to be talking about, right? What you're passionate about. That's what it is. And then you get people that come and want to cause trouble, see, and want to harm people. And you get people who don't want to put up with that. Now, if they just stayed out of it, none of that stuff would have happened. But oh no, not them. Anyway, this is going to be an interesting week politically, as you know. I'm sure you know. I'm sure you've heard the phone call between what's his name and the Georgia Secretary of State. Oh boy. You know, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. You can't do that. But that's what they do. So anyway. So listen, guys, if this is your first time here, welcome. I appreciate everybody who comes here and watches these little tarot and rune videos that I've been doing them for several years now. And I've reduced them to Mondays and Thursdays instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it gives me an ability to do another video of some kind in the middle of the week. And then also I'm doing the esoteric influences on Sundays. Those have posted, so if you want to look at that. You can follow along on the blog. I have it as written up as well. It's also published over on Patreon, only a little bit different one. It has some magic stuff in it as well. If you're a patron over there. If not, it just costs $1 a month. You don't have to do for a whole year. You can do it monthly. You can decide, I don't think I want to do it this month, and you don't have to. I'm pretty laid back about all of it. I just do that so that I can defray some of my blog costs, because it does cost money to have a blog. And, so I have that, and I have a buy me a cup of tea on the which is like a tip jar on the blog. There's that there now, and so if you want to do that, that takes you to a PayPal thing, and you can donate there. And again, it just helps to defray blog costs. That's all it does. And so there's that that's happening. Let's see, the bind rune is up for the week. It's on the side panel of the blog. It's basically talking about aligning your fate with spirit. You can align it with ego, or you can align it with spirit. And realistically, I don't know. I think you would want to do the spirit part, but who knows? And look for shortly, maybe this week, I don't know, it might be next week. I've got my copy already. I'm going to talk about the latest book that I wrote called Shifting Perception. I think that it might be helpful, I don't know, for people, because things are not good, interaction-wise between people right now. And I think that you have to get yourself out of the egoic reaction to things in order to make that happen. And so, hence the name Shifting Perception. I'm not going to talk about the whole book, but I'm going to talk about what the whole premise is, and then I'm going to give some conscious breathing work and things like that. So anyway, look for that. If it goes up this week, it'll probably go up on Wednesday. And if not, then we'll try for either the weekend or the following Wednesday. So anyhow, I think that's all I need to do as far as telling you everything. I think that's everything, I hope. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our cards and see what we have. And we'll see how they relate to the runes as well. So let's go ahead and see what our first card is. And as always, I take the 13th card for randomness sake, so my shuffling doesn't interfere with all of it. Here we have the 10 of Cups. We have a happy family, contentment, fulfillment, emotional fulfillment. They've got their home in the distance. The kids are dancing. And it's just happiness all around, isn't it? We're not really there, though, right now, are we? Not with the virus, not with, we've got, what is it, over 350,000 people? I can't remember what it said this morning. I saw a number, 350-something, 354,000, maybe, I'm not sure, that have passed, that have died from the COVID virus. And those are just the ones we know about. Could be higher. Some people say it's higher. So I suppose at some point it doesn't really matter. Oh, the other thing I'm doing is the yearly tarot reading. That one I'm working on. I'm currently working on it. So hopefully I'll get that done today. I think I will. I'm going to do them in quarters. So there'll be 4 sets of 3 cards each, one for each quarter. And I've tried it various ways each year. And each year I change it. It's like, oh. Anyway, so I'm going to try it this way and see how it goes. So it'll be, for 3 months at a time. Anyway, you can look at either a card for the month, or you can think of it in terms of these are the influences for the first 3 months, the second 3 months, the third, and so on. Okay, so that's that. Look for that to go up on the blog as well over at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com. And we have the King of Pentacles. surrounded by his wealth, surrounded by his own abundance, with his back turned to the kingdom. You know, and our Ten of Cups can be impacted by this guy. You know, especially if he lies and deceives the people. We know what that's like, don't we? Well, we have the Emperor. Today's the 4th day of January. This is a card 4 of the Major Arcana Soul Archetype card. I tend to look at the Emperor not as a father figure. I mean, he's a male figure in authority, obviously. You see the ram's heads there on the top part of his throne and on the armrests there. He's holding a what has he got in the one hand? Oh, it's the head of a sunflower in his left hand. Right there. And he's got a scepter in his right. It can be interpreted as a card of strength and power. There's a lot of reds and oranges and whatnot there. Gold. But when left to his own devices, he ends up like this. And I'm going to take a 4th card. And the happiness and fulfillment found in the 10 is generally threatened by somebody like this. Because he doesn't see you. You can see, and I'll show you this, his gaze in both the cards. One is fully on with the King of Pentacles. He's holding a coin in his hand, and he can, and he's focused on it. Okay, he's focused on his own wealth. He's not focused on anything else. Now, what we can do is we can put him last and put the king in the middle. Or maybe we could put the 10 in the middle. Let's take one more card. Well, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. All right. I drew the 6 of Swords. Now, obviously, this is a journey over water, but it's a journey to awakening. It's a journey to new perceptions. It's a journey to new thought processes. You can see the family there, mom and the kid and the child, they're huddled against the cold, while dad is pushing onward, basically. So, and they're pushing on to a new home. They're pushing on to, it looks like maybe she's pregnant, but because we've got 2 kids here, but you can't really tell in that card. As a result of the misuse of power by the Emperor, he affects the underlying material security in our lives. When it manifests, I mean, it's one thing if he's an authority figure that then is benevolent and can see the bigger picture and can create a life for the people that is positive and productive and able to meet their needs. But if not, if there's nobody there to support that in him, he's liable to become like this, where you see the kingdom in the background here and here. And look what he's looking at. He's looking at the pentacle there, and he's looking at all the grapes and whatnot around him. That all means abundance. But its abundance is his. It doesn't belong to the kingdom. He doesn't care about that. So he used his authority, we can say then, in terms of the emperor. The emperor's authority is being manifested in a way that doesn't take care of the kingdom. Some of the choices that we're making right now, just in terms of the virus alone, in terms of masking up or not, When you don't mask up, I don't care who you are. Um, I don't care if you're law enforcement. I don't care. I mean, I don't care who I don't care who you are. If you don't mask up, you risk other people's lives. You risk your own as well, but basically you're risking other people's lives. You're not thinking about the bigger picture. You've decided to believe someone who's lying to you about what all this is, and therefore you don't have to take the precautions because it hasn't affected you and you don't know anybody, and anyone I did know, they all got better. It was no big deal. Well, over 350,000 people have died, so it is a big deal. It's a very big deal, and we expect more to die here coming up. By the time the new president is inaugurated, there's probably going to be 400,000 people that have died. That's the estimates they're predicting, or we'll get awfully close to it, especially with all the travel over the holidays that was not supposed to happen. But again, we have an authority figure who, instead of, and he could have, right? Instead of taking care of the kingdom and the people and protecting them and being the authority figure that tells the truth, that gives people the information they need to have, and guides them on the path toward healing and security and safety and all of that. Instead, we have a guy who's just interested in getting as much as he can before he's thrown out. And that's coming. No matter, what begging he does to the Georgia Secretary of State on an hour-long phone call that was taped. I read the reason why they decided to do that is because they said that, and this is a direct quote from them, that Lindsey, well, I'll butcher it, but they said Lindsey Graham, after he called them and wanted them to get rid of legally cast ballots, they felt like, well, maybe we need to tape this phone call. Because they didn't have a good feeling about it, right? Well, turns out they were right to do that. So, as a result of the guy taking his eye off the ball and focusing only on his own grift and his own wealth, the kingdom be damned and all that, now we got to set out somewhere else. We've got to change our perception about this guy. And we've got to seek better ground. We've got to seek new opportunity. We've got to seek new perceptions, new awakening. We're going to have to calm our emotions to do that, calm the reaction, and let higher self come in and, make this and help us make the best decision possible, one that is less reactive and more about taking into account, think of it really as a soul journey. But it's the balance of will and emotion, balance of intellect and emotion, rather, not will, but intellect and emotion. You can see some of the water is a little bit wavy there, but, you've got the staff in the water. So yeah, will is propelling it onward. But realistically, if you aligned yourself with this guy, you need to wake up and realize that he doesn't have your best interests at heart. He never has. It's all about what can happen for him. Because if you don't head in a new direction, then emotional fulfillment and success and security won't happen. Because here you have the 10, which is new beginnings, really. The end of one phase, the beginning of another. It's kind of a Degas moment. And you can kind of see where they've made some plans here, and you see the mark of demarcation there that separates. And then they can go underneath the rainbow to their new home. And instead of dealing with insecurity and fear and heartache and all of that, instead they're happy. Because they've changed their mindset about things. They've changed how they see things, and they've struck out into something new, into new experiences. almost like a soul journey into higher awakening. And they do it by shifting the mindset of populace into one that is family-based and security of the family-based instead of security of the king. Because if you'll notice, there's no future running, there's no future office to be held, but it's give me your money still. Okay? Again, this is really the difference. It's like, who are you going to follow in terms of populace? Are you going to follow the family and the needs of the family, or are you going to be so wrapped up in the con artist king that you can't even see your family anymore, or the needs of your family anymore? Where is your balanced energy exchange? Is it with family? And I think that it has to be. Because at the end of the day, they're who you will be at home with at night, right? They're the ones that rely on you, your children, your spouse, your partner. Everybody has to rely on one another in the family, not on a king that can't seem to even remember you're there. So whether this is indeed about what's going on in society, or whether this is about you dealing with maybe one person in the family who really is more about themselves as a person in authority, so one of the parents maybe is somebody whose will is just way too strong and can't really see the forest for the trees, can't see how it's impacting the family. At some point, the family's got to get up and say, listen, this isn't working for us. And we've got to get on another shared path together, away from this authoritarian attitude that isn't helping anybody and seems to prevent the path from opening to new experiences and new perceptions. But it really does feel like, whose crowd are you going to follow? You know, you've got a lot of conspiracy people right now that are saying all kinds of things that simply aren't true. And unfortunately, it has affected people in such a profound way, you know, and to the expense, you know, at the expense of their family, at the expense of their jobs, at the expense of a lot of things. They want to go into stores unmasked. They want to cause trouble. They want to yell and scream. If someone tells them you have to leave or put a mask on, they flip out at people. Sometimes arrests are made. Sometimes there's violence. You have to ask yourself, how did we get here? Well, they're following along with a crowd that is going nowhere. And the only place that ends up is in a place of harm and risk for other people. So again, who are you in balanced energy exchange with? Who are you in Gebo with? Are you with people that want us to progress onward? Or are you with people that want to come up with all this nutty stuff that, you know, even if there are little points of it that might have some truth to it, it's being billed in a way, it's being culled together in a way that is not. And so I don't know. I guess for me, what this reading is saying is that, you know, we get on a better shared path with one another where we can control the will, we can control intellect and balance it with emotions, to where we can think rationally, in other words, about what our what's going to enhance and foster our material security. And with material security, I'm talking health as well. You know, whether you're talking about the weird rollout of the vaccines, it's up to the states to do it. We gave it to them, so it's up to the states. Well, you got states that, like Florida, that their governor can't figure this out. And so again, even coming down to defining what the shared path is and who's part of that. I mean, it should have been federal government in partnership with states and everyone in partnership with the people. But that didn't happen because of this guy who thinks only of his own self and not the impact of the decisions he's made on the population. You know, when we can get, because here's the thing, it's like Bob Woodward wrote the book, right? And he's got tapes. And the guy in the Oval Office is like, oh yeah, oh no, this is the worst thing in the world. Oh, it's terrible for kids, terrible for old people. It's so contagious. And then he goes out and says, oh no, we got it. It's fine. It's no big deal. It'll be gone by Easter. Go ahead, go back to work, go back to school. You don't have to wear a mask. Don't worry about that. Let's hold super spreader events. Oh, but be sure to sign on the dotted line to make sure you don't come after me if you get sick. We gotta wake up. Get on a shared path forward to greater happiness and security. It can happen. We've been there before. We'll be there again. But it does take understanding that the authority in question has literally messed things up beyond redemption, really, in many respects. So it's going to take somebody new coming in with a different mindset to reset the course. And so that's what we did, you know. We kicked him to the curb. He doesn't seem to want to go, you know. Wants the Georgia Secretary of State to find ballots for him that don't exist. Yeah, that's election tampering, election interference, or whatever they call it. It's illegal. We'll see what happens there. But something should. There has to be something that resets people's perceptions so that they can then go on a different shared path with others. And not be, you know, I guess there was Frontier Airlines. They had a couple women get on there. They had masks on when they got on there, but, you know, they're all laughing and smiling and think it's real great to pull it down. They're like, oh, no, pull it back up. They won't. So they were told to leave. They wouldn't. So the pilot comes on and says, well, I'm sorry, folks, but I'm going to have you all exit the plane because the people that won't put their masks on, you know, they're not cooperating. So we're going to have you all get off the plane. And so those two women have been banned from Frontier Airlines now. They won't be able to go. They're on a no-fly list of sorts. They can't come back on the plane. They'll have to go on some other plane. And I don't know if they share those lists, but, you know, probably ought to. But I don't know if they can legally do that. But, you know, everybody had to get off the plane because these two idiots wouldn't pull their masks up. Everyone else had them on. I mean, you're in this hermetically sealed environment. The last thing you need are people breathing without a mask over it to catch it all. Because you breathe, you shed, don't you? You talk, you shed. If you're sick. If you're in the contagious part of it. And if you don't know it, you're infecting everybody potentially on that plane. So good on Frontier. And there's other, what is it, Delta does the same thing? One of them, another one does the same thing. They'll just turn the plane around. I've read of airlines doing that. They just turn the plane around. Let's go back. Police are waiting for them when they get there. Again, different mindset. We need a different mindset so that we're all on this same page together here, so that we can beat the virus and give it no room to continue to spread. That's all anybody's wanting to do here. But it feels awful because we've been at this now almost a year. I looked at my day timer and, I was talking to my husband yesterday and it actually was on the 2nd. And I said, we've been in lockdown for 11 months today because it was February 2nd that we made the choice that, okay, we're limiting everything. I started making masks. And we were wearing them at that point, out and about. When we were out maybe once every 2 weeks. It's been over 2 weeks since we've been to the store. We might go tonight, I don't know. We might go late. That's what we do now. With the mask over the nose and the mouth, and we wear a face shield as well. And so I don't know. I think that this is a good reading. It really shows the difference between what we're coping with and the lies and the deception and where that's coming from. And then we've got to decide, whose side are we on? Are we on the side of the people, where we get well and we return, our businesses return, and our lives get back to some semblance of normalcy? Or are we going to continue to live in this guy's world? The world of chaos and grifting and criminality. It's a decision, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. And we'll talk again Thursday. And again, I might get that thing up on the Shifting Perceptions book. I might get it up on Wednesday. I might do that. I'll just see how my week goes. And I'm going to finish the tarot reading for the month, probably today sometime. I'll get that finished. The magical forecast will also go up here in a little while. And I guess that's it. I can't think of anything else I need to share with you guys other than thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much. I hope you click subscribe and come back. There's going to come a point where we're not going to have to worry about this kind of stuff. And we'll be going here. And I suspect it's sooner than later. So anyhow, be safe, everyone. Wear a mask if you go out around anyone at all, whether you're inside or out. And be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.